What's going on, cat gang? It's your favorite YouTuber that's wearing a shirt with a squirrel holding a hand grenade that also has 2 cats. And I swear to you that I'm not lying when I say that 24 engineers versus the Gunslinger is the greatest versus video I've ever made. First, let's get started by taking a step back and looking at how the accelerators performed on this challenge since I just recorded that last week. The Excel has a pretty good max level DPS stat at 286, with the engineers coming in at just around 358. So the engineer is a little stronger than the accelerator. Of course, the main difference here is the fact that each player can place 8 excels but only 6 engineers. So that kind of means that the accelerators would do better here because you can place 32 of them but only 24 engineers, right? Maybe. You see, the accelerators actually have one major handicap that caused a problem in this challenge, and it has to do with their targeting. Unlike all the other towers in the game, the accelerator will lock onto an enemy and keep shooting that enemy until either the Excel's overcharge limit is reached or the enemy dies. This targeting is actually what made us lose this challenge because too many of the Excels locked onto the Gunslinger, which allowed some of the weaker enemies to leak past that we could have killed otherwise. Now, we did try it a few different times with about 8 of our excels set to weakest to target them, but we still ended up dying. In fact, we weren't able to even get it down to just the excels versus the Gunslinger because of this targeting. And this is the main difference to look for between how the accelerators and the engineers work. The engineers target just like every other tower in the game by shooting the front enemy. So as the different enemies move to the front of the pack on the final wave, they would incur the wrath of the entire engineer army and just get vaporized almost immediately. So while the accelerators struggled on the final wave but did pretty good early to mid game, the engineers actually performed in the opposite way. They did really well on the final wave but struggled to really even get past early game into mid game. Now remember, we only want to be using engineers here, but we did have to farm a little in the beginning to start placing them, so we used 3 golden scouts to keep us alive long enough. At that point I thought, oh good, I've got 2 level 3 engineers, that should be enough to keep us alive. Wrong. It was amazing to see how quickly the lower level engineers got overwhelmed in early game, and we actually died on wave 15 a couple times because the engineer sentries don't have hidden detection. So it was only the Engie damaging them, and since she only does 7.95 damage at level 3, that just wasn't good enough. I mean, it would be okay on a map with one path, but that's not why I do these challenges. I really want to push these towers to their limit and see what they're really made of. And sometimes that means we find out that they're made of poop. We were finally able to get past wave 15 when I upgraded one of my engineers to level 4, which did 14.88 DPS, and that was enough. So once we got a couple of level 4 engineers placed down early on, that was good enough to finally get us into mid game and on to the final wave. And the last thing I want to mention is that you've really got to watch from wave 30 to the end because it's interesting to see how the engineer actually kills. Like, it looks like we're about to die on every wave, but somehow the engineers managed to pull through and save the day. I thought we weren't even gonna get to the final wave, and I was like, how is the engineer the most expensive tower in the game if it can't even get to the final wave on Badlands by itself? Now, of course, we are using the medic, DJ, and commander for supports, and I've done enough talking. Let's go ahead and give a shout out to my epic teammates for this game: Zingius Tree 15, Noah of Sador, and the best Marinez. Now sit back, relax, and grab a Gunslinger cat, and I'll see you right back here at the end. Let's go! Engineers prove why they're so much better than the accelerators. Even though we only had 24 engies, we were able to get down to just the Gunslinger and do almost 300,000 damage to him. This is definitely the only tower in TDS that could do that. And wasn't it cool to see how the engineers were killing everything like right at the same spot, right at the back of that path on those final few waves? I mean, I thought that was cool. Alright, now if you thought this video was cool, go ahead and smash that like button with your forehead, hit the subscribe button with your big toe, and turn on notifications however you can so you don't miss any of my amazing upcoming content. And I will see you guys next time. Take care, be safe, and never forget what I always say, peace!